Hello, and welcome to the 8th episode of LGBTQIA+, Heroes, Icons, Legends, and Events. This series of programs covers a wide variety of topics such as activist Marsha P. Johnson, politician Harvey Milk, astronaut Sally Ride, and entertainers Freddie Mercury and Laverne Cox. Today we'll talk about the man who played a major role in the defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II and the father of modern computing, Alan Turing. Alan Matheson Turing was an English mathematician, logician, cryptanalyst, philosopher, mathematical biologist, and computer scientist. He was born on June 23, 1912, in Maida Vale, an affluent neighborhood in the borough of Westminster in London, England. His father, Julius, worked for the Indian Civil Service. The Turings moved to London to raise their children, Alan and his elder brother, John. Their parents traveled back to India often for Julius's work, so Alan and John lived with friends in London during their absences. Alan showed signs of mathematical genius very early in his life. His natural inclination to study and excel in mathematics and science did not please his teachers. In 1926, he began his studies at Sherborne School, an independent boarding school. Independent schools were not required to follow a national curriculum, but Alan's teachers were unhappy with his lack of interest in the classics of literature, languages, and history. Alan developed a close friendship with fellow student Christopher Morcom. Christopher has been described as Alan's first love. Christopher's enthusiasm for science and mathematics provided inspiration for Alan's future work. Sadly, Christopher died from bovine tuberculosis in February 1930, shortly after being accepted to Cambridge University. Alan was devastated by the loss of his friend and companion. He worked even harder on the projects that he and Christopher had begun together. Alan attended King's College at Cambridge University as an undergraduate student from 1931 to 1934, and he received first-class honors. He studied mathematics at Princeton University in the United States and graduated with his Ph.D. degree in 1938. World War II officially started when German forces led by Adolf Hitler invaded Poland on September 1, 1939. Alan started working at the Government Code and Cipher School, the code-breaking organization of the British Secret Intelligence Service at Bletchley Park, on September 4, 1939, the day after Great Britain declared war on Germany. He concentrated on cryptanalysis of the Enigma cipher machine used by Nazi Germany to send messages. Alan led the code-breaking team in a building called Hut 8. Alan had a reputation for eccentricity at Bletchley Park. He was called Prof by his colleagues, and his treatise or formal written analysis on the Enigma machine was called Prof's book. He chained his tea mug to the radiator pipes in Hut 8 to keep it from being stolen. Alan had started running when he attended Cambridge and was an accomplished runner capable of world-class marathon standards. He occasionally ran the 40 miles to London to attend meetings. Alan designed the specifications for an electromechanical machine called the bomb, which was based on a Polish invention. Until July 1939, the Polish team had been working on breaking the Germans' Enigma code without telling their French and British allies. The German military increased the security of the Enigma machine by changing the cipher system daily. After failing to crack the Enigma code, the Polish team turned to France and Britain for help. The British team, led by Alan, started with 10 people but eventually grew to almost 10,000 codebreakers, most of them students from Cambridge and Oxford universities. Alan tackled the German naval Enigma code on his own because no one else was doing anything about it and I could have it to myself. He developed a technique called banbarismus, which enabled the naval Enigma messages to be read starting in 1941. In July 1942, he traveled to the United States to advise the U.S. military intelligence about the use of bomb machines and to share knowledge of the Enigma codes. He returned to Bletchley Park in March 1943 to continue his cryptanalysis. Later, he designed a voice-scrambling system that he called Delilah. It was completed too late to be used during the war. The war in Europe ended in May of 1945. Many historians agree that the war was shortened by at least 2 years and that many lives were saved by the work of Alan and his code-breaking team. After the war, Alan worked on a design of the ACE, the automatic computing engine. He also devoted himself to the challenge of artificial intelligence, and he created an experiment called the Turing test. The Turing test defines the standard for machines to be defined as intelligent. A computer could be considered intelligent if, through conversation, a human could not tell the difference between the computer and another human. This experiment has had major influences on our modern computing, such as the CAPTCHA test intended to determine whether the user is human or another computer. In 1951, Alan turned to mathematical biology and developed his theory of morphogenesis, the process that causes an organism to develop its characteristics. This work was a major precursor to the discovery of DNA. Alan lived with two big secrets: his highly confidential work with the British Secret Intelligence Service and his sexuality. He was gay, and at the time, same-sex relationships were illegal in England. He became close friends with one of his Bletchley Park colleagues, Joan Clark. He arranged to work the same shifts as Joan, and they spent most of their free time together. In early 1941, he proposed to Joan, and even though he admitted to her that he was gay, she accepted. Alan called off the wedding later that year since he knew he couldn't go through with it. In 1952, Alan started a relationship with 19-year-old Arthur Murray. Alan's home was burglarized, and during the course of the investigation, Alan told the police about his relationship with Arthur. He was arrested for homosexual behavior and was found guilty of gross indecency. He avoided going to prison by agreeing to take hormonal injections of estrogen, otherwise known as chemical castration. He took the treatment for 1 year. He was stripped of his security clearance and barred from working at Bletchley Park. He was also denied travel to the United States. On June 8, 1954, Alan Turing was found dead in his home. He had died the day before from cyanide poisoning. A half-eaten apple was found by his bed. It's unclear whether he died of suicide or assassination. His biographers speculated that he died of suicide by reenacting a scene from his favorite fairy tale, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Queen Elizabeth II officially pardoned Alan Turing in 2013. After almost 60 years, the public learned how much they owed to his brilliant work in cryptanalysis and his contributions to ending World War II years earlier than expected. In 2014, Alan Turing was portrayed by actor Benedict Cumberbatch in the award-winning film The Imitation Game. The film brought major recognition to Alan Turing and his long secret work in cryptanalysis, computing, and mathematics. On June 23, 2021, the Bank of England issued a new £50 note featuring Alan Turing. It was released on what would have been his 109th birthday. It's the last of a series of currency to be printed on polymer instead of paper, and it has expanded security features. The note contains a photo of Alan, his signature, his birth date written in binary code, and this quote: "This is only a foretaste of what is to come, and only the shadow of what is going to be." To know more about Alan Turing, go to our website, gwinnettpl.org, and check out the following suggested items: Super Scientist, 40 Inspiring Icons by Anne Blanchard; Alan Turing, The Enigma by Andrew Hodges; The Innovators, How a Group of Hackers, Geniuses, and Geeks Created the Digital Revolution by Walter Isaacson; Groundbreaking Guys, 40 Men Who Became Great by Doing Good by Stephanie True Peters; Math Makers, The Lives and Works of 50 Famous Mathematicians by Alfred S. Pasmentier and Christian Spreitzer; Queer There and Everywhere by Sarah Prager. Also, visit our website's digital resources to discover Canopy, our new streaming service. Canopy has a wide selection of films and documentaries about LGBTQIA+ topics. Thank you for watching.